Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you? Okay. All right.
Fine.
Okay, good. Okay, today I will continue from our last class. We were talking about we were talking about the negative function externality, and today we're going to look at the negative consumption externality. So I'm going to take care of the negative externalities first. Okay, negative production, negative consumption, and after that we look at the positive externalities, production and consumption. Now, negative consumption. Now, when you look at negative consumption externalities, it's about what? It's about consumption of someone that affect another person. Negative consumption externality. So here, consumption of a good or service by someone, okay, by one person, affect negatively, or incur cost to another party, by someone affect another party. And of course, you add the word here, not reflected in the price. Okay, not reflected in the price, or not directly involved in the transaction. So consumption of a good or service by someone affect negatively or incur cost to another party, not reflected in the price of the good. When I say price here, of the good or service. So that is a negative consumption externality. Now the effect here is the negative effect, or the cost. Okay, the cost would be on the demand function. Okay, on the demand function. Because it is consumption. Okay, production, marginal cost, demand. If it is consumption, effect is on the demand function. And the demand function, we think of the demand function, or in fact, the demand function is the we already started there. That is actually we started a little bit. The demand function is the marginal benefit function. Yeah, I think we started already a little bit. So the demand function is the marginal benefit function. We already discussed about how you describe it. You know, as you consume one more unit of the good, what is the marginal benefit is related? It's related with each quantity. Okay, so that is the demand. Marginal benefit is just equal to the price we are willing to pay. So marginal benefit, think of it as the price we are willing to pay. That is the price on the demand function. Okay, all right, so marginal benefit. Now, when you have the negative consumption externality, you will have the marginal, no, before we talk about the marginal, we talk about the total first. Sorry. The total social benefit, all right, will be equal to the total personal benefit. All right. Now it incur costs, so effect negatively, or we say incur costs. All right. So that will be a cost to a third party. So there is external cost, right, associated with your consumption. Example here, if you smoke cigarettes, so we think of it as consumption. So the smoke from the cigarette incur cost another party. So there is an external cost. All right. Now, in terms of benefit, external cost, positive external cost is equal to negative external benefit. So now we want to do it in benefit terms. So there will be negative external benefit for the cost. So therefore, our total social benefit will be equal to the total personal benefit or private benefit minus external benefit. So that would be our total social benefit function in terms of benefit. Okay. When you use benefit means it's negative of cost. So we look at benefit in terms of external benefit. Then we can relate the difference between the marginal social benefit and the marginal personal benefit or marginal benefit function. And the difference is by the marginal external benefit. So you have the total social benefit equal to the total private benefit minus the external benefit. And in terms of marginal, we have what? Marginal social benefit equal to the marginal benefit, marginal personal benefit, minus marginal external benefit. So the effect here is on the marginal benefit function, which is the demand function. So I have Q and the price, and of course that is the marginal cost. There is no effect on the marginal cost. All right, so just MC, and then you have the marginal benefit. So I draw marginal benefit. This is the marginal benefit. Okay. So if you have the marginal social benefit equal to this equation in terms of how we relate to MB, so where is your marginal social benefit relative to the marginal benefit function? Up or down, above the MB function, or is it below the MB function?
Below.
Below lah. Okay. So one way to think about it, you take any Q, say Q1. All right, at Q1, the marginal benefit is here. Now you want to find MSB. MSB equal to the marginal benefit minus, okay, minus MEB. So that is our MEB minus. So you got the MSB here. So this is our equilibrium. That is our social equilibrium. Okay. Did we do this in class last time? Benar ni? Dia buat ke belum?
Dah.
Dah siap lah. Okay. We finish everything on the negative consumption externality.
In terms of cost.
So I already discussed about the net benefit. Oh no, the net gain to the society.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
So I will just, we little bit. Okay. So if you look at this diagram, you compare the social equilibrium with the negative, with the competitive equilibrium. You do the comparative statistics. Right? You compare the ES and then EC. We have what? We have EC. The equilibrium is U equal to. I think we've done this, but it's okay. I will redo it. So that is ES, then is PC. So Q equal to QC, P equal to PC, and ES, we have equilibrium. Q equal to QS, P equal to PS. In terms of the quantity, we find that the QS is larger than QC. All right. So here, the social equilibrium output, social equilibrium quantity is lower than, or is less than the competitive equilibrium. All right. Now, what does it imply? It implies that the market, the market produces too much output. Too much output. Or the society wants less. The society wants less. We want less. And the market produces too much. We want less. Look at this in terms of the external cost. All right. The negative MEP is equal to MEC. So the area is the external cost. So this portion here is the net gain. Net gain to the society. All right. So that's where we stop last time. We think of the area. The area there as the marginal cost. And, the total external cost. Okay, ni, itu saya dah cakap dah. This is the external cost. Then, all right. So that is the negative externality. So negative externality incur cost, right? Incur cost third party. Okay. And what I would like to do now is look at the what do you call it? Positive. Hey, I want to confirm. Did I talk about this area? The area in terms of external cost. Dah kan? And then dah kan? Okay. Sebab itu masalah dia. Bila kita buat kelas online kan, I have to write down lah. Because some of the things I don't write here. So I assume what I have here is where we stop. But I forgot, Wednesday we have face-to-face. And some of the things that we do, I don't write. I don't on the board. Oh yeah, I remember battery mati. Battery laptop ni masa tu habis. Okay. So we are done with the negative externality. So now we're going to look at the positive externality. So positive externality, first of all, positive production externality. So here, production of a good, all right, So here you got production of a good or service will generate or give, okay, generate or give benefit, okay, benefit to third parties, and of course that benefit is not reflected in the price, right? So now benefit third parties. So again here we're talking about production, so the effect is on the supply function. That's the supply functions for marginal cost. So you have external benefit, okay, external benefit to the party. So positive consumption activity. Okay, sekejap. Positive consumption externality. Wait, I look at my notes. Nah, nanti salah cakap pula nanti. Positive production. Okay, positive production. So there is external benefit third parties. Example. What is an example? Production of externality. I think one of you mentioned last time that vaccine COVID vaccine. I think did you mention or another class? Now this vaccine COVID-19, the production of it, okay, generate what? Generate positive externalities. Okay, that means generate benefit to other people. All right. Other example would be like school, okay, building of school or road. You know, that will have external benefit to some people. Okay, so the effect is on what? The effect is on the supply function because it's production. So therefore, our total social cost will be equal to the total private cost plus some external benefit. In terms of marginal, you have marginal social cost equal to the marginal cost plus marginal external benefit. But here we're talking about cost. So we use that relationship. You know that what? You know that MEB is equal to negative MEC. So since the effect is on marginal cost, if you put it in terms of MEC, then you can see the relationship. So what you have is MFC is equal to MC minus MEC. Okay, now I want you to draw a graph. Okay, just sketch the graph. You draw the demand function, you draw the marginal cost. The effect is on the marginal cost. The marginal benefit or demand function doesn't change anything. So how do you relate? All right. How do you relate the marginal social cost and the marginal private cost? Is it above or is it below? Okay, do it now. You do it now. I want you to just sketch the graph. Okay. So how does the MEC no MEC, MSC relate to the MC. That's your marginal benefit or the demand function. I have the marginal cost. So is it where is the marginal social cost? I have the marginal social cost equal to MC minus MEC. That is equal to MC plus MEB. So where is it? Is it above or below?
Below.
Below. All right. So I have MC here, let's say for any Q, say Q1, you got the MSC equal to what? Equal to MC minus MEC. So should be below it. So that is our MSC. All right. Because there is negative external cost or external benefit. So that is the MSC relative to the MC. And this is the MEC, negative MEC equal to MEB. Right? But if you look at the marginal cost, easier about the cost function. So now what I would like you to do, this is the competitive equilibrium. Okay, that is our EC. And that is our ES. So I want you to spend 1 or 2 minutes, do the comparison. All right, I have your EC, and then you have your ES. You compare the output level, and then we compare the price. Okay, do it now. What happened? Under positive consumption externality. What can you say about the social equilibrium quantity and the social equilibrium price? Okay. What can you say? All right, what happened? What can you say about the QS and QC?
QC is lower than QS.
So you see here, QC is less than QS, or you can say QS bigger than QC. All right. So what does it mean? It means that the social equilibrium output, all right, social equilibrium output level is larger than or higher than the competitive equilibrium Q. Okay, QS bigger than QC. So therefore, you can say competitive equilibrium is less than, or competitive equilibrium output is less than the social equilibrium output. Then we say that what? We say that the market, because it is positive, the market produces too little or too much? Too little.
Too little.
Little, positive, too little output. We want more, okay? The society wants more. So, but the market produces too little. And you look at the price will be lower, okay? The social equilibrium price will be lower than the competitive equilibrium price, okay? All right. So you have the net benefit to the society, the area. Net gain. Okay, net gain to society. So if you look at in terms of the cost, okay, sama je. The total external cost will be total external cost before here marginal total cost. In this case here, you look at the what? We look at the benefit. Okay, you look at the benefit because it's positive externality. So if you look at the benefit, I already here, there is an external benefit. Okay, there is external benefit. So let's discuss it in terms of the external benefit. That's it. So you have, okay, the external benefit. There is the MEB. Because I show you a negative MEC. So negative MEC is MEB. So before under the competitive equilibrium, the benefit is this area. A, B, E, C, D. Okay? So the smaller area, rectangular area though, is the total external benefit under competitive market. Now with positive consumption externality, what is the total external benefit? With externality, the total external benefit will be this bigger area. All right. So there is what? There is additional, okay? There is an increase in external benefit. When you take into account with positive production activity, there is increase in external benefit. So compare area tadi lah. All right, you compare the area, first area is that area, the black one. Okay, and then with externality, the area is the one that I draw in pink. So A, E, S, I label here D, C. So there is an increase with the area B, E, S, D, E, C. That is the increase in external benefit. And the net gain to society is that smaller area. Okay, the area that is in black. Because the other area will go to the firm. Right? Will go to the firm. So that is our gain to the society. So when you consider the positive production activity, there is a net gain. There is a net gain to the society. Okay. Any question? Any comment? And you have, of course, the market will produce of okay. All right. So the next type of externality is the positive consumption externality. Now, when you have a positive consumption externality, the consumption of a good by one person will give benefit to another person or another party. All right. So you have the positive consumption externality. So positive consumption externality. Consumption of a good or service by one party or by someone give benefit, okay, generate extra benefit to another party, to another person. And that benefit is not reflected in the price of the good. Okay. So positive consumption externality, one good example is, I think somebody mentioned this class, I don't know whether this class or the other class, consumption of COVID-19 vaccine. This is a very, very latest example. The vaccine that we take, first dose, second dose, third dose. So if you have that, it doesn't only benefit you, okay? If you consume it, it doesn't only benefit you, but also benefit other people. That means you reduce the possibility of getting COVID. So that is a positive consumption externality. So the total social benefit, now the effect is on the demand function, okay, is equal to the total personal benefit plus an external benefit. So in terms of marginal, we have marginal social benefit equal to the marginal benefit plus MEB. Okay, so that's how the relationship is, the marginal social benefit and the personal benefit. Now, marginal costs don't have any change. Okay, marginal cost, supply function, there is no effect. So you have marginal cost, that is the MB. All right, now I want you to spend a few minutes. You locate the MSB, okay? You do the MSB either up or above or below through this relationship. I want you to get the social equilibrium, okay? Get the social equilibrium, and then compare to the market equilibrium, positive equilibrium, and describe how is it different, okay? How is it different? So do it now. I'll give you 3 minutes. Okay, first, where is the MSB relative to the marginal benefit function?
Above MB.
Above or below?
Above.
Should be above lah. You know, you have, like I said earlier, it's easy to see. You have, say, any Q, then you have what, MB plus MEB, be somewhere there. So you got the MSB. So now you compare the social equilibrium. Okay, equilibrium is there. All right. Okay, now with positive consumption externality, does the market produce too little or too much output? Too little. Okay. So you compare the output level, QC is less than QS. All right. QC less than QS. So therefore, the competitive equilibrium quantity is lower than the social equilibrium quantity. So therefore, we say that this is the term we use in public finance. the market produces too little output. You know, that's the, if you look at the textbook, that's how they describe it. We say that the market produces too little output. So you look at the competitive equilibrium, Q is equal to QC, and that is PC, that is QS, that's PS. So equilibrium output level under the competitive market, you have Q equal to QC, P equal to PC. And then for the social equilibrium, you have Q equal to QS, P equal to PS. Of course, don't forget the condition, all right? Competitive equilibrium, MB equal MC, or demand equal supply. For the social equilibrium, you have the marginal social benefit equal marginal cost, because that is positive consumption facility. So the effect is what? The effect is there on the marginal benefit function. So you have the marginal social benefit equal to the marginal cost. You have this equilibrium. We just make the comparison. QC is less than QS. So what do you say? We say the competitive, okay, the competitive output, competitive equilibrium output is less than the social equilibrium output level. So therefore, the market produces too little output. We want more, okay? We want more. The society wants more. So that is positive consumption externality. So any positive consumption externality, production or consumption, as we see here, the market underproduce. The market produces too little. The society wants more. On the other hand, if you have the negative externality, either consumption or production, the market produce too much. Okay, we want less. So positive, you want more. Negative, you want less. So that is the effect, the effect of the different types of externality on the market. Okay, all right. Now, that is the concept, all right? That's the concept. When you take into account the negative or the positive externality, you will have a different outcome, all right? Different outcome. And we already discussed that outcome. Now, next question is, how do the market, or how do the firms, or the consumers, or the generator of the externality actually internalize the externality? So this is what you call internalization of externality. Or how do we internalize the externality? How do you actually realize that externality? Okay, how do we realize it? What do we mean by internalization of externality is, how do we actually realize it? So in other words, if you look at what is described here, the externality, or how do you internalize an externality? If there is an action, not necessarily more general than policy. Sometimes when you say policy, normally you think of government, okay? But sometimes it can be just by the private, by the person itself. So we can say just any action. If there is an action or policy that will make the the generator of the externality to take into account what? The benefit or the cost. Then not the cost or the benefit, the external benefit. All right, the external benefit or bukan off ni tau, salah je. It's not off or external benefit, either external cost or external benefit into their decision. So I'm going to do some change here in that statement. So you internalize an externality if there is an action. Okay, if there is an action or policy that causes the generator of the externality. Generator means the producer, of the externality. It can be positive, it can be negative. To take into account or to account for the external cost or the external benefit into their decision-making process. Okay. All right. So if I think here, you internalize if there is an action very general or policy taken by the generator or the producer of the activity. To account for the external. We should put external cost or benefit into the decision. Or either output decision or consumption decision. So decision here, either production decision or consumption decision. So there is an action, right? Or something that is done or policy taken by the generator or the producer of the externality to account for the externality, to account for the external cost or benefit into their decision. So that is internalization. That is what you actually do it, to consider those costs into your total cost, or consider those benefits into your total benefit. All right. So that is what we call internalization of activity. Okay. Any question about this? This is the concept. All right. Internalization of activity. That means we actually take the activity into account. Okay. All right. So mana dia? Jauh ni pergi. All right. So how do you do that? How do you internalize? How do you internalize the activity? Okay, there are three ways that we're going to discuss here. Number one, what is number one? Number one, voluntary. Okay, voluntary. That means you do it with your own accord. You do it by yourself. Okay, maybe you do it because of your self-consciousness. We realize that what you do affect other person. It's not just MEC. Okay, it's not just MEC. MEC is an example, is one of it. But sometimes it can be what? It can be marginal external benefit. So you don't have to take you don't have to put the marginal external cost. So just say voluntary internalization. That's it. All right. don't put the MEC by the pump, because that will be very specific. Right? But now you want to do it generally. Okay, number two. Number two is, I look at number three first. Number two is the private bargaining. So private bargaining meaning what? Meaning the party that is involved, the relevant parties that is involved in the externality, they will do their own bargaining. So we call it private bargaining by the parties involved, and that process we call cost theorem. So if you look at private bargaining to reduce or to discuss about externalities, okay, that is by cost theorem. All right. And thirdly, government intervention. Government will go play a role. All right. Either what? Either by policy, direct regulation, by policy or by law, or by tax. And not just tax. Okay. Tax or what? Subsidy. So there is tax or subsidy. All right. And the internal and the voluntary, okay, so we just call it voluntary. Voluntary internalization. That means you internalize the externality by yourself. All right, by yourself. So these are the three ways of what do we call it? Of internalization of the externalities. And by doing that, we will get the social equilibrium. Okay. All right. Any question? Any comment? Good. Eh? Good.
Good.
All right. So now let's do the voluntary internalization. What is voluntary internalization? Voluntary, you do it by yourself. So if you recall, what was our example last time? Example, kita punya example paper factory, fertilizer factory. You have the fertilizer factory, the fertilizer company, all right? And the factory is upstream, and the waste will affect the people that live downstream, the fishermen or the villagers, affect their income or affect their health, right? So that was negative production externality. And another example is the negative consumption externality. This is the smoking. The smoking of cigarettes. Okay, now we start with something that is very simple, smoking cigarette. If your friend smokes cigarette and it is affecting you, now under voluntary action, what he does, what should he do, or what does he do? What does he do? Now, what does he do voluntarily? Huh? Apa dia? I couldn't hear you. I didn't hear you clearly. Cuba cakap lagi sekali.
Stop smoking.
Not really stop smoking. You cannot stop smoking. He can, he can, but let's assume he doesn't stop smoking. Stop smoking ni susah sikit lah. But he still smoke. But he knows by smoking affect you. So voluntary action apa yang dibuat?
Smoke in private area.
He smoke. He doesn't smoke in front of you. He will go what? He will go out of the room, or he will go nearby somewhere, outside, quiet place, not quiet place lah. You go to a place where there is nobody there, right? So if you look at this thing, senang kita tengok voluntary, you know, under voluntary action, he knows, okay, he knows the negative effect, so he will voluntarily smoke near the Gombak River or near the longkang. He will smoke outside, far from people. Okay, so that is voluntary. And of course, to be voluntary, you have to have the information. Okay, you have to have information. That means we know that, you know, the person who smoke knows that the smoke will affect another person. Kalau dia bengak, tak tahu, susah. Okay, so he has to have the information. Now, for the negative production activity, for the company or the factory, voluntarily, okay, when he go down the stream, he will see the waste and it's affecting the people. So he voluntarily consider that external cost. He will take into account, all right, the external cost into what? Into the total cost. So he will consider that. So voluntary, no pressure, no nothing. That is coming from his what? From his information, sometimes his knowledge or his consciousness. Under this one, probably people with religion now. You know, if you are more religious, that means we have what? We have a clear value system. Okay, you think of others, because if you follow religion, if you think about Islam say what? If something that you do affect another person, you know, that is wrong, right? So if you consider your value system, then you know, there is a negative effect. So you consciously, you will take that into account. So one basic assumption is maybe sometimes people with value or people with religion, okay, they will do that. All right, you got it? Okay, but still saying that, there is a big but. What is the but? Do you think it's easy for people to consider it voluntarily, even though he's very religious? Pergi semayang 5 kali sehari kat masjid, tapi they never care about other people. Alright, so for voluntary action, it's very, very, what you call it, very not really practical. Okay, not really practical, or very, what you call, very limited success, or we can say not effective. Why? Because normally, even though you are very religious, you don't think too much about other people. Maybe you think a little bit. His cost is actually, say his cost is 10,000. But you may underestimate the cost. You can say only 1,000. So voluntarily, it can work, but very limited situation. Okay, if you have the small situation here, small case, like 1% smoking, and it another person, I think that one can work. All right, but again, I don't think people consider other people, even though they have the information. So doing voluntarily is possible, but not very effective. Okay, all right. So that is voluntary. Next, apa tadi next? Next is the cost theorem. Okay, cost theorem you do the bargaining privately. The party that is generating the pollution or giving the externality, either positive or negative, they negotiate or bargain with the affected party on their own. All right, on their own. So there is a bargaining here. Voluntary, there is no bargaining. Okay, voluntary, no bargaining. The producer or the generator of the externality by himself or herself consciously take the external benefit or external cost. All right, okay. Cost theorem is actually quite nice. Okay, quite nice, the concept. All right, what is cost theorem? Okay, I want you to read the cost theorem. Just read the first part. First part is the cost theorem. Okay, what is it? The first part, okay, first part is the assumption. If property rights are well defined, okay, that's number one. One condition is that property right must be well defined. Second, what is the second one? Second one, bargaining is not costly. Bargaining has no cost. Bargaining is costless, zero cost. Okay, easy to bargain. You don't have to incur costs. If these two are true, then what? Then the private bargaining between the involved parties or the parties involved will lead to what? Will lead to the social efficient outcome. Socially efficient outcome. You change the word level. Socially efficient level itu apa belakang level. So socially efficient outcome. That will mean the quantity and the price. All right. So this is cost theorem. Since it's a theorem, it's a concept. So you have to have an assumption. So the assumptions are two. If the assumptions are present, then the private bargaining between the relevant parties will lead to socially efficient outcome. Okay. All right. So cost theorem, C-O-A-S-E. Cost theorem. All right. So you have two assumptions, and then you have the theorem. Okay. Take a short break, and then after that we'll come back. So you look at the cost theorem. Paham kamu? After I will discuss. Assalamualaikum. Yeah. So today, you have the assumptions. All right. Adina, macam mana? COVID dah bagus dah? Dah okey dah? Kuarantin dah habis?
Dah.
Dah habis? Oh, dah habis. Wednesday ni boleh attend kelas lah? Ke tak boleh lagi?
Saya last week dah datang lah. Saya tanya Anis kot.
Oh, ya, ya, ya. Oh, lagi seorang ya? Ni lagi seorang tak siap ni. Okey, okey.
Sir,
Yes.
Rabu ni saya tak boleh datang lagi.
Ya. Okey, tak apa.
Okay, thank you,
Betul
sir.
datang lagi tak apa. But, you know, when I have face to face, recording tak ada lah. So, you get notes from your friend.
Ya, saya dah minta.
Lepas tu, kalau ada recording lama tu, saya akan upload. I have 2 years ago punya kelas. So, tengoklah macam mana. If it is similar to what I'm doing now, then I will upload. Okay. Alright. Anything? Okay. Cost theorem ada dua assumptions. Number one, you have to have property rights. Okay. Property rights must be well defined. What is property right? Property right is the rule or law that give the right to someone, okay, or some party to do something. Okay, to do something or give the right to someone to have access to something. Okay, to do something or have access. Maybe it doesn't really capture the right, but for us, this is enough. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say you and your friend. This is you. This is your friend. He smoke. Okay, he smokes cigarette. So by smoking cigarette, in terms of right, okay, does he have the right to smoke? Okay, now for you, you don't like cigarette smoke. So do you have the right to what? To clean air. Okay, right? To clean air. Now, who should have the right? Does your friend should have the right to smoke, or should you have the right to clean air? Which one? Which one should be? Should be the right? Both. So here, you cannot be both. Okay, you can have both. If you have the right to clean air, he has the right to smoke. What happened? So under the cost theorem, it must be well defined. Okay, well defined meaning you have well defined. You have one party. Okay, one party has the right. Has the property right. It can be either, okay, say the right to smoke. So let's suppose the university say, okay, the university in the government, the authority, the university give you the rule. Okay, people has the right to smoke. All right, people has the right to smoke. So there is a well-defined property right. It's well-defined. That means people have the right to smoke. Okay, or they can give another well-defined right. People have the right to clean air. Okay, so there is a right to clean air. That can also be possible. Okay, so it's well defined. So well defined right, it can be either way. Okay, under cost theorem, it doesn't matter. Okay, does not matter. Does not matter who. Okay, who does not matter, as long as there is a well-defined property right to one party. So it can be the right for the people to smoke, all right? Or it can be the right for people to have clean air. So which is which? Doesn't matter. It's up to the university to decide. But as far as this theorem is concerned, we don't care. All right, it doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter who. Okay, all right. So that is what we mean by well-defined property right. So the role of the authority, okay, the role of the government or the role of authority is what? Is only to make some rule, all right, to assign property right, make rule, assign property right, and enforce that right. Don't just assign. The problem with government, they assign property right, but there is no enforcement. Okay, so not just assign, but also enforce. So that is only the role of the authority. It can be university, it can be school, it can be the government. Okay, all right. Now the next one, or maybe the university. If you look at the university, maybe they have the rule. People have the right to clean air. Okay, so that's the property right. All right. Now next is the bargaining between the affected party is cheap. That means you and your friend can bargain. And the bargain here doesn't mean that you are going to fight. Okay, there is no promo. Ada promo, ada gaduh. Bargain nicely. Okay, you bargain nicely, no cost. All right, no cost. No cost of bargaining. So that is the second assumption. If you need to bargain, you have to hire a lawyer. Okay, lawyer je pun dah 5,000. Tak boleh. That doesn't hold. So you don't need any cost. Okay, the cost of bargaining will be very, very small. Now, if that hold, okay, those two things hold, then what? Then the bargaining between the relevant parties will lead to what? Will lead to the social equilibrium outcome. So what you have is this. You bargain, and at the end of the day, we end up here. Here is what? Positive production activity. And you end up at the social equilibrium. If it is negative production activity, we do the bargaining, we end up again at the social equilibrium. Okay, so the bargaining will lead to what? Will lead to the social equilibrium outcome. That is the good thing about social cost theorem. Okay, given the two assumptions, we bargain, and that will lead to the social equilibrium. Okay, any question? Anything? Okay, all right. So now, okay. Now let's consider an example of the bargaining. All right, let's consider the example of the bargaining. Suppose we are going to look at the small situation here. Your friend smokes cigarette and it's affecting you. Okay, so look at the negative consumption externality. So example, negative consumption externality. All right. So if I draw the diagram, okay, we draw the diagram because the diagram will show you how we do the bargaining. So I have the marginal cost here. That's the marginal benefit. the marginal social benefit. Because the marginal benefit. That's Q. So we know this is the competitive equilibrium. That is the social equilibrium. All right. We know output level. No, EC, that is QS. The thing is, the bargaining will lead to the social equilibrium. Now, let us suppose that the person who smokes has the right to smoke. That means your friend has the right to smoke. All right? So when he has the right to smoke, what do we do? Now you have to bargain with him. You have to bargain. Now this bargain doesn't mean that, okay, you tunjuk ayat Quran. All right? The bargaining here is by what? By something that is tangible. Okay? Tangible. That means when you bargain here, you are going to do some compensation. You're going to compensate him, all right, for not smoking, to reduce smoke. Okay, so you're going to compensate him to reduce smoke. Him or her, to reduce smoke. Now, what is the compensation? You're willing to pay. Okay, you're willing to pay him up to what? Up to the marginal external benefit or marginal external cost lah. Okay, or marginal external cost. Okay, willing to pay up to marginal external cost or marginal external benefit, so that he reduces the quantity of cigarette. Ini example lah, okay? Any general case reduce quantity. Okay, all right. Now, if he has the right to smoke, then where is our initial point? He has the right to smoke. He can smoke sampai dia, mati pun tak apa. He will smoke from morning until evening non-stop because he has the right to smoke. Now he has the right to smoke. Where is the beginning point? Because at the end, we are going to end up with ES. Okay, we're going to end up here. But we know it's going to end there. But where do we begin? Where do we begin? Do we begin here? We begin here. Or do we begin here?
From QC.
We begin at QC. Even though he has the right to smoke, he doesn't smoke all the way here. He doesn't start smoking sini. Here, marginal cost is very high. All right, he will start smoking here at EC. That's the market outcome. Okay, the competitive outcome. So you start QC. Now that's the beginning point when he has the smoke. Okay, when he has the right to smoke, that means he will smoke QS. Initial Q, smoke. Q is what? QC. All right. So that is the competitive equilibrium output level. So that's how much cigarette he will smoke. Now, what we want, you want to bargain. Okay, you want to bargain for him to reduce the quantity. All right. And what? We are willing to pay what? We are willing to pay up to the marginal external benefit. Okay. All right. So at QC, that is the marginal external benefit. So in order for him, or in order for you to have him reduce one cigarette, then you will tell him, okay, I will pay you MEB. So let's say this MEB here is equal to 20. Okay, I pay you up to 20 ringgit. So are you willing to reduce cigarette by one? Okay, you see, up to 20, you know, I say up to 20. You bargain, you don't, not necessarily 20, maybe you pay 18, okay, but to MEB. Also, we just say MEB right now, okay? We just say up exactly MEB. So we tell him, I pay MEB, you reduce by one cigarette. Suppose that MEB is 20. So he say, okay. So, okay. So he now reduced by one. So call it Q1. He reduced to Q1. Okay. Now he reduced to Q1. You still have marginal external benefit if he reduced the amount of cigarette. So what? I'm willing to pay that much. Okay. Say here 15. Okay. We told him, what about I'll give you 15 ringgit? He reduced the amount. Oh, he said, okay. All right. So you will continue to bargain with him until he reduces the smoking quantity up to here. Why up to there? Why up to QS? Can we go further more up to here? No, we cannot go further more up to there. All right, because you will see what happen if you have it there. Then you cannot. All right. So the QS here is the end point, the stable point. So you will end up at QS. Why at QS? Because at QS, the MEB is what is the MEB at QS?
0.
0. So tak ada apa habis. Okay. There is nothing more because your additional marginal benefit is 0. So you are not going to pay him anymore because you will not gain anything, you know, for him to reduce smoking. Okay. Right. So you end up there. So that is the private bargaining. We are going to pay him, right, up to MEB or the MEC so that he will reduce the quantity. That is negative consumption activity. If it is positive, then you want him to increase. Okay, so we need to look at it later on. But we just do one or two examples. Okay. All right. Now, suppose you have the right. Suppose the university give the right to clean air. That means the right goes to you, not him. Okay. So what he does now, he will pay you. Okay. He's going to pay you up to MEB for him to what? To smoke some cigarette. So that is how the bargaining works. So if I do it at the account, okay, I need to summarize. If initial Q smoking QC, so here we are willing to pay, all right, MEB. any Q. Okay, at any Q, that means QC up to QS. All right, for him or her to reduce Q. Okay. Or the example, reduce smoking. Okay, so like I said here, let's say at QS, all right, at QS, MEB, we give a number so that you can figure it out, visualize it better. MEB is equal to 20. So here, we offer him, okay, we offer him 20 RM so that Q will be reduced, okay, by 1 unit. And then you continue, okay, we continue the bargaining until what? Until Q equal to QS, where MEB is equal to 0. There's no more additional benefit. So you stop bargaining because there is no more to give. Okay, there is nothing more to give because our marginal external benefit is already 0. All right. So that's how you bargain. Okay. So you bargain, you give him money. Okay. All right. So that is now if you have the right to clean air. Are you done here? So second situation, if we have the right to clean air, so he has to offer you. Now, if you have the right to clean air, where is the initial point? Where is the beginning point? Okay, you know it will end up at ES. All right, now you have the right to clean air. So where is the initial point?
ES.
Huh? EL?
E.
ES. Kalau ES tak ada bargaining lah. Betul kat situ. Okay, there must be bargaining. Now, if you have the right to clean air, that means initially what? Initially, there is no smoke. Okay, Q equal to 0. No smoke at all. Because you have the right to clean air. Okay, now he wants to smoke. So now he has to what? He has to bargain and offer, okay, you up to what? MEB. So that he can increase. He can have some cigarette to smoke. Okay, so that's how the bargaining works. So for example, you start from here, 0. Right? So 0, you will see that the marginal benefit, okay, and now it's no more marginal benefit. It's the marginal benefit to him. All right, marginal benefit is larger than the marginal cost. So he's willing to give us that much. No, it's not marginal benefit. It's actually the marginal social benefit. Okay, so the marginal social benefit at Q equal to 0. Because he wants to smoke. Okay, he will consider the marginal social benefit. So he's willing to pay. He's willing to pay that much. All right, in order for him to be able to smoke the first cigarette. So he's going to offer not MEB, to be MSB. All right, to have some cigarette to smoke. Okay, so he offer you MSB, say equal to 50. All right, so that I can increase Q by 1 unit. So he smoked the first cigarette. So I have here, let's say MSB ini 50 kat situ. Okay, so you let him smoke the first cigarette, Q equal to 1, he pay you 50. Okay, you say, okay, you can smoke 1 cigarette, 50. So he smoked first cigarette. After he smoked the first cigarette, the MSB is still higher. All right, still say 40 for him. So he's willing to pay 40 to smoke another cigarette. And that bargaining will continue until where? Until MSB here equal to MC. All right, the MSB equal to MC. So you will stop. He will stop offering. So that will be what? There will be the solution, the end point. Okay. So what we say here is this: doesn't matter who have the right to smoke. By doing the bargaining, okay, we will end up with what? Continue the bargaining. Okay, until Q equal to QS, where MSB equal MC. So there's no more bargaining. So what we are saying here through the theorem, the compensation or the bargaining will lead to the social equilibrium. So the person who has the right will be compensated. Okay, so if you have the right, untung lah. Okay, you will be compensated in order to what? To trade off your right. To trade off your right, you are compensated. So the property right ni, you can trade. Okay, you can trade some of your rights so that the other party can increase their consumption or production. All right. So the person with the property right, of course, you have the right to be compensated in order to exchange for the activity. Okay. All right. But it doesn't matter. Okay. By the cost theorem, it doesn't matter who is the property right assigned to. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, I take a little bit longer than normal. I will stop here. We will continue Wednesday. All right. So Wednesday, I finish up the cost theorem, and then we will look at the government intervention. Okay. So what you can do, you read on the cost theorem. Okay. What's the problem with the cost theorem? Okay, apa problem, apa masalah dia? Okay, why people don't use cost theorem in real life? All right. So you go to the book, there is some discussion. You can read that. Okay. All right. Any question, any comment, anything?
No, doctor.
Okay, good. I'll see you again on Wednesday. So if you cannot attend Wednesday's class, get notes from your friend. If I have some similar recording, I will upload it. Okay. All right.
Hey, doctor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I will see you again.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum
doctor.
warahmatullahi
Thank you,
wabarakatuh.
Doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay, thank you.